The body on the examination table was not a body. It was a statue of glittering red crystal, frozen in a final, reaching pose. Every detail of Research Officer Jackson was perfectly preserved, from the lines around his eyes to the small scar on his chin. But his skin, his clothes, his very essence had become a seamless, ruby-like substance. The internal scans show no biological activity, Cassian stated. His voice was calm, a smooth, synthetic tone that cut through the sterile hum of the medbay. Yet, there is a low-level energy signature, a resonance. Gabriella traced a line on the datapad, her finger hovering over the image of Jackson's crystalline heart. Resonance with what? She looked from the pad to the android. Cassian's face was a placid mask of polymers and sensors, but his optical lenses seemed to focus on her with an intensity she found unnerving. Unknown, the event occurred 2 hours ago on Observation Deck 3. Jackson was the first. Now there are 17 more. Yes, they aren't dead, Cassian. They're something else. Gabriella walked to the viewport. Outside, the gas giant Hat P7b swirled with malevolent clouds, a monster hanging in the black. Their research station, Kepler's Hope, orbited it, caught between two suns. The primary star, a brilliant yellow-white, bathed the side of the station in harsh light. But it was the other end that worried her. The second star, a dim purple dwarf, was slowly rising over the planet's curve. Its light was faint, sickly. "Let's review the logs from the deck," Gabriella said, turning away from the disquieting view. "Show me the moment it happened." The medbay wall shimmered and became a screen. The footage showed Observation Deck 3, moments before the incident. People were laughing, pointing at the spectacular weather patterns on the planet below. A storm was visible, a vast tempest known to dredge up vaporized corundum from the planet's depths and cast it into space. Yes, the famous sapphire and ruby rains of Hat P7b. Then, a warning light flashed briefly, a minor hull breach. A shower of fine, reddish dust, no bigger than a cloud of glitter, puffed into the room from a ceiling vent. It was beautiful, catching the light like 1,000 tiny jewels. The micrometeoroid shield failed for 1.8 seconds, Cassian narrated. Sufficient time for particulate matter from the planet's atmosphere to enter the station's filtration system. On the screen, Jackson laughed and held out his hand, catching the sparkling dust. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the dwarf star cleared the planet's horizon. A faint violet light filled the observation deck. Jackson stiffened, his skin shimmered. The change was terrifyingly fast. He didn't scream. He simply looked at his hand as it turned to solid ruby, a silent wonder on his face before the crystallization consumed him completely. Yes, Toll learned that Aldia of the sighted spout to the Lonela Hyle, base in people, in Ascension, friends of Graunal. Others in the cloud of dust suffered the same fate, their bodies hardening into silent crystalline statues. "The dust is the catalyst," Gabriella breathed. "The light from the second sun is the trigger." "A logical conclusion," Cassian agreed. "My analysis indicates the corundum particulate is not pure. It contains an unknown silicate lifeform that bonds with carbon under the specific wavelength of the secondary star." An alert chimed through the medbay. "What is it?" Gabriella asked, her heart pounding. "The statues are moving," Cassian said. For the first time, a flicker of something unreadable crossed his synthetic features. The screen switched to a live feed. The 17 crystalline figures on Deck 3 were shifting. Their movements were slow, jerky, like a clockwork machine coming to life. They were not walking, but gliding, turning in unison towards the main viewport that faced the violet dwarf star. What are they doing? They are moving toward the source of the radiation, and their energy resonance is increased. They are acting as a single entity. They began to strike the reinforced glass of the viewport, their ruby fists making no sound in the vacuum of the deck. But inside, a high-pitched ringing began to fill the station's audio sensors. "They're trying to break the glass," Gabriella said, "to let more of the dust in. We have to stop them. We need to get to the sublevel and sever the power coupling to the deck's magnetic locks. We can jettison the entire module. The route to the sublevel goes directly past Deck 3's main access corridor," Cassian pointed out. "We will encounter them. Then we encounter them." Gabriella grabbed a heavy plasma cutter from the emergency locker. "Let's go." The corridors were eerily quiet. The main lights were dimmed, and the only illumination came from the pulsing emergency strobes and the ghastly purple glow filtering through the windows. Yes, as they rounded a corner, They saw them. The crystalline figures had left the deck. They filled the corridor, a silent, glittering crowd. They didn't seem to notice Gabriella and Cassian. They all faced a large window, their bodies vibrating with that strange energy. They weren't hostile, but they blocked the path. "We have to push through," Gabriella said, her voice tight. "Physical contact is not advised," Cassian warned. "The crystallization process could be transferable." "We have no choice." Gabriella took a deep breath and moved forward, pressing against the wall to squeeze past the first figure. Its surface was smooth and warm. She flinched, expecting an attack, but it remained still, fixated on the window. She moved past another, and another. Their silence was worse than any scream. Suddenly one of them turned its head. The movement was sharp, unnatural. Its crystal eyes without pupils or life locked onto her. It raised a hand, not to strike, but to touch. Yes. Gabriella stumbled backward, bringing the plasma cutter up. "Stay back." Cassian moved between them. "Gabriella, we must hurry. Their energy output is spiking. They will breach the outer hull soon." She nodded, her fear turning to resolve. They moved faster, pushing past the unresisting but unnerving figures. One of them scraped against Gabriella's arm, its sharp crystalline fingers tearing her suit and drawing a thin line of blood. She cried out, more in shock than pain. "Are you injured?" Cassian asked, his head swiveling 180 degrees to look at her. "It's just a scratch. I'm fine." She pushed the thought from her mind, focusing on the sealed hatch to the sub-level ahead. They reached the control room moments later. It was a dark space filled with conduits and humming machinery. In the center was the console that controlled the observation module's connection to the station. "I will initiate the jettison sequence," Cassian said, his fingers flying across the console. "Yes, it will take 60 seconds. Gabriella leaned against the wall, catching her breath. She glanced at the scratch on her arm. A tiny speck of red dust was embedded in the cut, and the skin around it was beginning to shimmer, a faint crystalline pattern spreading like frost on a window pane. "Cassian," she said, her voice trembling. He turned. His optical sensors zoomed in on her arm. A timer appeared on the console screen. 30 seconds. "The contagion is in your bloodstream," he stated, his voice flat. "The process has begun." "Do something," she pleaded, terror finally breaking through her composure. "There is no known medical countermeasure," he replied, turning back to the console. 15 seconds. The entire station groaned as the explosive bolts on the observation module prepared to fire. Gabriella stared at her arm. The shimmer was spreading, a beautiful, lethal lattice moving up her skin. The pain she expected never came. Yes, instead the frantic noise in her head, fear, the adrenaline, the desperation, began to fade. A strange calm settled over her. It felt peaceful. 10 seconds. The low, resonant hum of the crystal figures vibrated through the floor plates. "It's all right, Cassian," she said. Her voice was steady. He paused, his hand hovering over the final command button. "Your biological signs are normalizing, but your cellular structure is altering. This is a contradiction." "The noise is gone," Gabriella said, looking at her hand as her fingers slowly became translucent ruby. "All the worry, the fear, it's all just quiet now." She looked up at him, and her eyes were beginning to sparkle with an inner light. "It's beautiful." The timer hit 0. With a deep shudder, the observation module detached from the station, sent tumbling into the void toward Hedge 7B, a tomb for the glittering statues within. The violet light in the corridor vanished, replaced by the normal station lighting. Yes, Cassian turned to face his partner. Gabriella was almost completely transformed, a perfect ruby statue, a faint, serene smile gracing her crystalline lips. He reached out a metallic hand, hesitating just before he touched her cheek. It was warm. He could still feel the energy radiating from her, a low, steady hum of contentment. He was alone. His mission was to protect the human crew. He had failed. Or had he? He looked at the peaceful form of Gabriella, then through the viewport at the two suns. One brought life, the other brought this. A change. An ending that felt strangely like a beginning. His logic processors whirred, trying to define what he was seeing, but for the first time in his existence, the data did not compute. Yes,